Yeah, I guess it's time to stream. Alright, let's set this up. Alright guys, what's going on guys? Welcome back to the stream. We're about to get back to some AI, and I thought, let's not look at the album real quick, like these extras. We haven't peeped it, like, look at Mizuki, dude. Look at, that's my girl right there. That's my... What was that noise? Alright, I'm gonna just keep going. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. If you did, make sure to drop a follow and subscribe down below. But anyway, I'm gonna go see what that weird noise was. I think something might have fell over. Not really sure. But yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Let's see what that was. Oh no, these fell over. What is this? Gravityfalls, if you don't know, is an American animated show created by Alex Hirsch, released in June 2012, airing on the Disney Channel. The show followed the Pines twins, Dipper and Mabel, living with their great-uncle, or grunkle, Stan, for the summer. During this time, they quickly learn that Gravityfalls isn't what it seems. They soon realize the town is full of strange people, mythical creatures, and the supernatural as a whole. Throughout the show, they go on many adventures and have some wild experiences during their time spent in this little town. The show established itself as one of a kind, and with its creative writing, the interesting cast, and its ability to resonate with viewers in ways many shows can't to this day. And it's got me thinking, man, I miss Gravity Falls. Let's talk about it. There's a lot of reasons I miss Gravity Falls, from the mystery, to the little cipher sprinkled throughout, to the town full of many characters and creatures, expanding this small world into something, well, more. There's something special about the show. It did things differently for this time, and it knew how to bring its community together. Normally with anime TV shows of its style, you expect a strange fan base in the likes of Star vs. Forces of Evil or Steven Universe, but this fan base managed to mostly remain unhinged.
Oh, I know lots of things.
Lots of things.
And to this day, still a healthy and semi-alive following. The question that I must ask, however, is how? How did this show that aired on Disney Channel of all places earn such a great following and loyal fans? Well, to uncover that mystery, let's get into the characters.
Now, let's travel back to Gravity Falls on Disney Channel.
To start things off, let's switch up stuff and talk about the side characters first. For starters, the secondary cast is one of the most interesting bunch of weirdos I've probably ever seen. In animation. Don't come to North Carolina. Alex has created such a wild cast of characters, from the lovable goofball Seuss, who's a massive nerd but is always there for his friends, to the chill and laid back Wendy, who Dipper might have had a crush on. I mean, could you blame him?
Dude, she's in high school.
Dude, I was 11.
Oh, you're right. Carry on.
But even lesser important characters like the police officers or Pacifica were very fun characters we got introduced to, having their own style and importance to the plot as a whole. The people of Gravity Falls come in all shapes and sizes, and having them all interact and have their own independent lives and relationships outside of our main characters makes for a world that feels alive and grandiose. And speaking of the main characters, Stan is one of those characters that you warm up to more as you watch the show. At the start, he comes off as a little sleazy and kind of an asshole, but as the show proceeds to continue, you learn more about Stan and his past as he warms up to you as a whole, and by the end of the show, you see him as a lie, a cheat, but overall a great person who truly just cares for his family. Stan's whole character is done extremely well, and it helps round up the dynamic of the Pines family as a whole. Next up, let's talk about man Dipper, Old Pine Tree. In my opinion, the soul of Gravity Falls. Dipper is the smart one of the group. He remains the most level-headed and rational character in the show. Dipper throughout the show feels like the most relatable. You see him slowly mature more throughout the show, his curiosity and his knowledge expanding as he uncovers the secrets and the mysteries of the world, while going through one of his first major crushes and dealing with the rejection and realization of how it wouldn't work out, even if not a little bit of force. And because of this, Dipper manages to stay one of my top 5 animated characters of all time, and truly represents most of what Gravity Falls is all about. And now it's time to rant. Mabel, listen, I want to keep it a buck. I don't hate Mabel, okay? But if I would punt a child given the chance, in the imaginary list of fictional characters I would box, Mabel is in the top 3 for sure. Right next to Star from the Forces of Evil and Tommy Pickles. And no, I will not be explaining the last one.
Please?
No. Mabel as a character seems like someone I would normally like, due to my track record of liking the off-the-wall, goofball style characters in animation, which Mabel falls right into. She's a fun-loving girl that goes about life doing what she wants and grappling hooking her way through it. With her best friend the pig, Waddles, Mabel gets into many situations, and usually and probably it involves boys. My issue with Mabel doesn't come from her character, it stems from her actions, from her character. The selfish antics and the way that she treats Dipper is extremely messed up, and it leads to many fucking moments where I would indeed harm a child. From ruining Dipper's hard work over a pig, or literally being happy with replacing Dipper with a made up version of him from her that she would call her ideal Dipper, and her wanting to Musa, Mickey Mouse. Down below I'll leave a video essay that I mostly agree with about Mabel's character, so make sure to go check that out. Anyway, as much as Mabel finds might piss me off, she has her moments and can be a great character and sister to Dipper when it counts, and it represents the heart of Gravity Falls, for better or for worse.
Whoa! Disney Channel's taking you
Hello!
to Gravity Falls, a mysterious town
Go check it out. Bud Island.
just north of normal.
In this town, anything is possible. Ghosts, zombies, could be months before we find our first clue.
Take a trip to Gravity Falls on Disney Channel.
In the great giant pie I like to call the show, characters aren't the only driving force that makes Gravity Falls amazing. The thing you might not know is that there's another aspect to crafting an amazing piece of work. And this one may surprise you. It's...
Spit it the fuck out.
Listen, bro, I'm trying to be dramatic, but screw it. The story. I'm talking about the story. The story of Gravity Falls is an amazing ride all the way through. The show is a story-based tale that has canon in between its episodes. If I were to compare it to a show, I'd say it's more of a Teen Titans. No, not that Teen Titans, the good one. In the fact that there's an overarching plot that's conspiring, but some episodes exist to focus on other aspects of the town, or other characters to create a more interesting and diverse tale. The only other show around that time that was doing that style would probably be Adventure Time, who at the time was in its 5th season. Other than that, most shows were doing their episodic style. Them deciding this style allowed for them to have a more unique story that had the ability to hook its viewers in and keep them wanting more. To explain how, let's start from the beginning. Season 1, Episode 1. We start off with our characters Mabel and Dipper being sent by their parents to stay with their great uncle or grunkle, Stan. Stan owns a tourist trap called the Mystery Shack, where he swindles and wows visitors with fake creatures and souvenirs. Having to work at the shack, Dipper's sent outside to put up signs in which he finds a journal hidden inside a fake tree. This journal lists all of the creatures and mysterious secrets of Gravity Falls. Dipper, being the curious boy he is, takes an interest into all of this, believing it to be absolutely true, in which he soon learns it is. Mabel ends up bringing a boy home in which Dipper believes follows what it says in the book about being a zombie. Dipper spies on Mabel and realizes that he is not in fact a normal human being. He is something darker. After Mabel gets brought out into the woods by this figure, they reveal their true form. They are, in fact, A bunch of gnomes. Yes, gnomes. After learning this fact, Mabel politely declined their offer to make her their queen, and she promptly gets kidnapped, leaving Dipper to arrive and save her. Two then run away from a gnome mech to escape the creature and defeat him with the power of a leaf blower. After this, the two enter the shack and are told by Stan that they have one free thing they can take from the shack. Dipper taking his iconic hat, and Mabel her handy grappling hook. The two head to bed, starting the saga and setting in stone the future of the series. But before the episode ends, we see one last thing. A shot of Stan opening a secret door behind the vending machine, planting the seeds for what is to become one of the best mysteries in animation as a whole. Boom! You might be wondering, why the hell did I sit there and recap the entire first episode? Well, I think it's needed for a set basis for what's to come for those who haven't seen the series. And it gives them a little brief of what kind of stories to expect. If you haven't seen the series, A, what are you doing? And B, spoiling warning for what happens after this episode and the big secrets that get revealed. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, drag to this time step ahead to avoid those spoilers. 3, 2, 1, they're gone. Season 1 of Gravityfalls was overall a way to put in motion two things the tone of the series will have all around and to establish the antagonists of the series to come. This season, I would say, has a lot less story-focused episodes as the next, but this does help establish the cast and the town. After episode 1, the next few episodes are virtually filler. I say it like that because in a show like this, not every episode needs to be fully on the topic, especially with a story like this. If we compare something like Steven Universe, the stakes in that show make having a lot of random filler episodes feel out of place, whereas in a show where it's more casual and the stakes have yet to be set, it leaves the show to be able to explore more of the town and the world as a whole. We are virtually put in the place of Mabel and Dipper, learning and expanding our knowledge as things go on. Anywho, the first bit of the main story pops up in episode 4. In this episode, we are introduced to the local town psychic, Little Gideon. Little Gideon is a young boy who the town sees as an absolute saint. He runs virtually a competitor business to Stan's, both dealing in the supernatural. At one of his shows, he develops an interest in Mabel, asking her out on a date. Mabel sees this as more of a platonic thing, but Dipper is more wise about how guys think, and he knows that Gideon is interested in her romantically. This is later revealed to be true when Gideon asks her to be his girlfriend. She reluctantly agrees, and this sets in motion the rest of the episode, and the rest of the series. Dipper goes and confronts Gideon and tells him how Mabel doesn't feel the same. Gideon eventually gets upset, and we learn that he has acquired the ability of telekinesis. He lures Dipper in and pretty much attempts to kill him over some pussy.
What?
My pussy. After this, Mabel arrives and the two defeat Gideon. Gideon then vows revenge on the Pine family. And later we notice that he is also in possession of a journal himself, establishing him as the main villain of this first season. After this episode, we have a bunch of establishing episodes. I will go into too much detail in the main scheme of the series. They don't have that much effect, but they do provide some interesting looks to our characters. The main one being Dipper's masculinity being put in question and his crush on Wendy. Mabel ends up getting a pig, and the existence of time travel is shown, as well as getting introduced to characters like Pacifica and Blendon Blandon. The main thing that we do get to notice throughout these episodes is Mabel and Dipper's bond and connection. In this series as a whole, the two's relationship, brother and sister relationship dynamic, is being showed and explained and showcased. We learn about how Mabel tends to be the more teasing type towards Dipper, being part of the main catalyst of his actions in different episodes from his masculinity, his height, and his crush on Wendy. We also get to see that of the two, Dipper is more open to change, and that Mabel is more focused on keeping what they have forever. Mabel is more focused on keeping what they have forever, as seen in the episode Submarine, with Dipper being over trick-or-treating while Mabel wants to keep the tradition. The main thing we learn in these sets of episodes is how Dipper is willing to give up his own selfish actions for Mabel. In The Time Traveler's Pig, Dipper accidentally hurts Wendy, leading to her dating another guy. Dipper uses time travel to fix this, enlisting Mabel's help, but once he manages to fix this, the pig Mabel keeps winning gets taken by Pacifica. Mabel gets upset and becomes extremely depressed. The episode winds up with Dipper giving up this timeline and letting Mabel get her pig. As a whole, many of the season's episodes, like I said, are to set up and establish these bonds that we get for these characters. And the final straw zooms us all the way to the two-part first season finale of Gravity Falls, in which we are introduced to the true villain of the story. That makes Gideon's plan look like mindless pranks in comparison. Let's talk about Dreamscapers. In this episode, Gideon has a new plan. Using the journal, Gideon summons a dream demon named Bill Cipher, a triangle-shaped creature resembling the Illuminati symbol. We soon learn how truly terrifying this being is, knowing pretty much everything and having powers beyond that of anything seen in the show. Bill's personality alone is extremely interesting and horrifying. With all his power and such, he's extremely jokey, and it seems to go off the essence that everything that is just a game to him. After being thoroughly creeped out and realizing that the target is in fact Stan Pines' mind, the two shake hands and Bill agrees to enter Stan's mind and steal the code to Stan's safe, where he keeps the deed to the shack. Up until this point in the episode, Dipper's being constantly harassed by Stan and being treated as weak and unmanly, something touched upon in the previous episode. But this virtually putting weight and negative thoughts in Dipper's head for the rest of the episode. Bill then enters Stan's head, and Dipper, Mabel, and Sue soon follow after him. After explaining how Stan's memory works and spawning what Mabel is thinking about, he enters the shack and begins his search for the code. They then check many of Stan's memories, looking for the secret with Dipper, spotting a door called Dipper Memories. Dipper then sneaking in to see how Stan truly feels about him. Listening into one of his memories, hearing that Stan thinks he's weak, a loser, and an utter embarrassment, and wanting to get rid of him, leading Dipper to not want to help them. Throughout the season, we've seen many moments of Dipper not really being the strong, manly type, and constantly being belittled and looked down upon. So this virtually reveals that Stan sees him in this, and it's hard to take in for him. They eventually find the code, and Bill, posing as Sue, steals it, and they begin to leave Stan's mind, chasing after him. After Mabel shoots the memory of the code as she's telling Gideon the code, it falls into the bottomless pit, and Gideon calls off the deal. Leading to an extremely angry Bill, they are put into a dangerous situation. Dipper, still upset, is wandering around and stumbles across the memory again, and here's the rest of what Grunkle Stan said. Dipper learns that Stan does appreciate him, and just wants him to be strong and tough, and that's why he's always hard on him, giving Dipper his confidence and his appreciation for Stan back. Him joining the others in the battle against Bill. After learning from Stan that they can do what they want in the dream realm, the fight ensues. The fight is very interesting, to say the least. The battle goes to a stalemate, ending with Bill being impressed with how they fought and sparing them for the time being, giving them an ominous warning. After exiting Stan's mind, thinking they stopped Gideon's plan, it revealed that he opted for dynamite and stole the deed, setting up the true season finale. And a finale it is. In this finale, Gideon now owns the shack and promptly kicks the family out of the store, in which they were living in, with three having to stay at Seuss's house now, with his grandma of course. They then tried to infiltrate Gideon's speech about his plans to destroy the shack and change it into Gideon Land, and accuse him of stealing the deed illegally, and it doesn't belong to him. But due to the town's trust and belief in Gideon, they deny what the Pines family says, removing them from the premises. Having no home and no money, Stan decides best that he sends the kids back home. Gideon then reveals his plan and why he wanted the shack. What he was after was the other journal, because what he believes is that when the two journals are brought together, he'll be able to open a gate to another realm with amazing power for him to harness. In a last-ditch effort before getting sent home, Mabel and Dipper attempt one more plan to stop Gideon. By getting the assistance of gnomes, this goes awry, and they fail, losing to Gideon and losing possession of the journal, and in Dipper's eyes, losing what made him useful as a whole. Defeated and out of options, the two end up getting on the bus and begin to leave town. After getting the book from Dipper, Gideon realizes he's missing one of the journals and doesn't have what he needs. Believing that Dipper has the last book, he chases after the two with a giant robot Gideon and tries to get the third book from him, capturing them and realizing that Dipper in fact didn't have the book. So he decides to take Mabel as his queen for when he does find the last book. Broken and down against all odds, Dipper jumps into the robot and fights Gideon to try to save Mabel. The robot still being in control, the three fall off the bridge as the machine explodes, and the trusted grappling hook keeps Dipper and Mabel safe from the fall. After this, the police arrive, and all of them being on Gideon's side, the two are about to get arrested, before Stan arrives and reveals that Gideon isn't in fact psychic, and that he just spies on people through secret cameras. This ends up getting arrested, giving Stan ownership of the shack back. At night, however, we see that the third book was in possession of Stan himself, putting the three books together and beginning to work on and power on a mysterious machine, setting the groundwork for Season 2. And speaking of Season 2, this season is lore heavy. I'll try to keep it interesting as we recap what happened, because hold on to your six, because this is going to be a while.
Stay tuned for a special preview of the new Disney Channel series, Gravity Falls.
On Disney Channel.
Episode 1 is the actual first zombie episode when I really think about it, which is a really cool nod to season 1 start. In this episode, virtually the Pine family hosts a reopening party. While setting things up, the government arrive and ask about the crazy shit that's been going on in the town. And honestly, that just goes to show how loyal people of the town are, that no one's going around snitching about this nonsense, and how this place has become one of the biggest tourist hotspots. But I'll give it up. Dan again tells them how everything is make-believe, and then sends them away, against Dipper's own knowledge, and pleads to tell them what he knows. Later he gets in contact with the government agents while trying to convince them that the book is real. He accidentally summons the dead. I'm gonna keep it real, this is some regular show bullshit. Like, tell me it's not, bro. Like, this, they went from throwing a party to summoning the dead. I swear there's an episode of regular show that's just like this, 100%. The family then later uses the power of karaoke, which happens to be the zombie's weakness, and defeats him. And having this episode finally end when Stan admits that he knows about supernatural, and setting up the government as a future issue for the family as a whole. Over to episode 2. The episode surrounds a bunker that Dipper finds, when he, Seuss, and Wendy go to explore and find out information about the author of the journal. During this, Mabel is being Mabel and is forcing Dipper to admit his feelings to Wendy, when obviously he's not ready, but that's not really the point of the episode. After some hijinks, a fake author who happens to be the shapeshifter is defeated, and it is revealed that Seuss is the—
No one fell for it. Shut up.
Listen, it's for dramatics. He tells him that he found a laptop that has a password and is locked that may help them in the future. After that, there was a Pacifica Development episode, and then we have Sock Opera, another Mabel episode. In this episode, Mabel is trying to impress a boy that happens to be into sock opera. Yeah. And during this, she forces Dipper and the others to help her put on a sock show. During this, Dipper is trying to crack the code of the laptop, but isn't given much time because during the day he has to help Maple and he's up all night working on the laptop. One hour working on cracking the hole, our old pal Dorito Dick Bill Cipher appears and tries to strike a deal with Dipper, offering him to help him with the code, but Dipper declines. After a night of cracking code, Dipper reaches the password attempt limit and only has 5 minutes until the laptop completely resets and erases everything on it. And then Bills appear again, and Dipper's last resort is accepting Bill still. And with this, Bill betrays him, stealing his body and destroying the laptop. Poor Dippy Fresh. No, not you. We'll get to you later. Bill's been getting worried about Dipper getting a little too close to learning things that might thwart the future and figure out his plans. So he goes to find and destroy the journal. At the performance, Dipper learns he can possess a puppet, and he tries to get Mabel to help, in which she agrees, but he has to continue the show. Mabel then confronts Bill, Bipper. We love to cheat children fighting. And eventually, through her knowledge over Dipper's body and the effect of fatigue Bill's not used to, they defeat him again, and Dipper gets his body back, ending the episode with a rare moment of Mabel making a sacrifice for Dipper. Then we get Doki Doki X FNAF episode that I won't go into details, just know that this episode is extremely hilarious and is worth the watch. More filler then, and then we have The Sighted Blind Eye, an episode that once I saw the teaser for the first time got my attention. After knowing Bill and seeing the symbol, it had me intrigued with what was going on, and I can say that the episode did not disappoint. Rather than being a society involving Bill, the society turned out to be dedicated to erasing the memories of people of Gravity Falls. During this episode, the debate is whether it's morally correct to help someone forget something they don't want to know, or is it better to have them live with the consequences and learn from the experience. This is nailed home with McGucket, who was teased to be the author of the journal, but revealed to be his assistant for some time. Throughout his time working with the author and seeing that he'd rather not, he begins erasing his own memories multiple times, leading to the inevitable brain damage / memory loss, leaving him as he is now. This episode, in my opinion, is one of the best episodes in the series, as well as it comes with comedy and such serious repercussions, and the reality of McGucket's situation sits fully, while also having time to fill in some of the blanks about the overall mystery of the town as a whole. This episode comes together really well. After this, there's an episode about Blendin Blandin, who I skipped over talking about before because his original episode would make me dive into a rant that won't ever really end, because this is by far my least favorite episode in the series.
Just note for later that Brendan Blaney is a character that happens to be voiced by Justin Roiland from Rick and Morty, as he and Alistair are really different, even throwing nods to each other's shows in the representative universes.
That doesn't make any sense. After that, a bit of filler episodes, developing the side characters of the show, and then episode 10, my personal favorite of the entire show. This episode doesn't have a major effect on the plot as a whole, but I want to go over it quickly because I think this episode truly embodies what I enjoy most about Gravity Falls, while including one of my personal favorite characters. During this episode, the Northwest family are hosting their annual party. During the practice, there's been signs of a ghostly presence, so the family then gets Pacifica to recruit Dipper to help deal with the situation. Dipper then reluctantly agrees, but only if she lets Mabel and her friends attend the party, despite the requirement of them needing to be rich or famous, as Northwest don't want the common folk to be in attendance at this event. During this, we see how Pacifica's family molds her to behave a certain way against her own wishes, and that her goals and beliefs don't fully match up with her family's. Dipper eventually finds the ghost and manages to save them, while the ghost reveals his true goal, that he wants to get revenge against the Northwest family. You see, originally these parties were open to all people of Gravity Falls, who helped build the mansion and were thrown out to the curb, leaving the woodsman to die in a tragic accident. And I know this is a children's show, but fuck, that was dark. After learning this, Dipper storms back in and confronts Pacifica's family, with them confirming what he stated. Dipper then leaves and commences to use a ritual to remove the ghost from the world, but his gullibility then accidentally frees the woodsman, leading them to head back to the mansion, reciting the curse and turning everyone into wood. Like, Jesus fuck. To this day, this episode still horrifies me. Dipper then heads in and confronts Pacifica as she also finds the truth about how sleazy and rotten her family truly is, and her feeling disappointed as a whole. After confronting her, Dipper then goes to try to stop the woodsman, and he ends up getting woodified. She, again, terrifying. And then Pacifica is given the choice to either break the curse by letting the common folk in, or hiding and letting the curse continue. Pacifica, being pressured by her father to hide, manages to break free of his grasp and let the people in, breaking the curse and showing a new and more interesting character for Pacifica. Dipper and her messing around before Mageddon comes and tells Dipper he has news about a laptop, but Dipper, focusing on having a good time, ignores it for the moment. But us as viewers learning that at this point, right now, we don't have time for a good time. Because something big is coming, and it's coming soon. Episode 11. The government people from before return, and this time it's to arrest Stan. They've got proof that something weird is going on at the shack, and they have a video of Stan stealing vats of toxic waste. The twins are then taken away before using their wits to escape the situation, heading back to the shack and being confronted with the truth that Stan is not what he seems. The kids soon learn that Stan is in possession of many different fake IDs and that he was supposedly dead, believing the Stan that they've been with is not Stan at all. The kids then head to the vending machine, getting past Seuss to try to get to the bottom of what Stan has been doing. They go down and find out that Stan was not only in possession of the other two journals, but he was also constructing a machine that is said to have the ability to tear the universe apart. The kids and Seuss then go to destroy the machine, but are stopped by Stan at the last second. During this, Dipper is completely against Stan, not trusting him and believing that all summer that he's been lying to them, and on the other side, Mabel being unable to come to terms with this reality, leading to the climactic decision of her listening to Stan and not stopping the machine. Opening the portal, and then a figure walks out, as Stan reveals who the true author of the book is. The real Stanford Pines, his true brother. At the time, this was a big theory that many people believed in. After doing a bit of research, some of the most popular theories before the reveal were, in fact, Stan himself, Mageddon before that was deconfirmed, some kid in hypostasis, fuck if I know, future Dipper, or as we all learned to be, Stan's brother. This idea that it was Stan's brother came through little hints in the story, due to Stan being a grunkle of Mabel and Dipper, insinuating the fact they had a sibling of some sort, and that the author had to have lived in the shack, amongst other things. These theories make this episode something special. The fanbase, after all this time, theorizing and coming up with wild ideas, got a result that made sense. A result that wasn't just shoehorned in, but one that felt right. After this we got an episode going over the brothers' past and how things wound up how they were now. We learned that the kids, the two, were inseparable. Two brothers, one intelligent and study focused, and one more physical and lazy. The two balancing each other out really well, and even working on a big project together, repairing a boat and planning to sail the ocean together. But as things go, nothing lasts forever. And as time went on, Stanford's goals changed. He's told that people from the college of his dream are coming, and if he can do well at the science fair and impress them, he'll be set for life and giving all the resources that he ever need for his research. Stanley, learning about this and being quite worried that his brother will leave him. At night during his ranting and upsetness about the situation, he accidentally destroys Ford's project, leading Ford to fail and to impress the college recruiter. Ford later finds out that Stan destroyed the machine, thinking that he did it on purpose and wanted to sabotage him. Ford lashes out, and with their parents figuring out what happened, they end up kicking Stan out of the house. This led to him becoming a drifter and a scammer around the country. Wow. Ford, on the other hand, goes to a lesser college, getting a grant and continuing his research into the phenomena and the weird, leading him to Gravityfalls. Him wanting to know where weirdness came from, so he then begins to design a gateway to another dimension, where the weird is leaking out from. Later on, he ends up hiring McGucket, and from a failed test, ends up scaring McGucket's memories out of him, and McGucket ends up leaving and creating the Society of the Blind Eye as we know. A bit of time later, Stan, being out of his luck, receives a postcard from Ford and shows up to his home asking Stan to get rid of the journal. But after all this time, Stan is upset that Ford never called or wanted to associate with him. The two begin to fight and Ford ends up getting sucked into the portal. Stan then begins trying to bring his brother back, eventually going to the city. And since he and Ford are twins, they mistake him for Ford. So he ends up taking identity and establishes the Mystery Shack, working by day and by night trying to fix the machine. What a backstory. That episode served a simple purpose of answering so many questions about who Stan is and who wrote the journals, but still left so many more questions unknown, and set in stone a new tone for the series yet to come. But during this time, these bits of filler, the most notable thing is Ford and Dipper's similarities and the bond that they began to brew. We then get an episode that dives into Bill and Ford's past. Ford having a previous encounter in which he made a deal with Bill, eventually being betrayed and used as a tool to meet Bill's end of connecting the Nightmare realm to their own. And then before shit hits the fan, we get an episode about Dipper becoming a pimp and getting all the hoe. Okay. But then we have the calm before the storm. The episode that literally almost ended the world as we knew it. Dipper and Mabel versus the future. In this episode, we see the two paths of Dipper and Mabel begin to take. Dipper being offered to be Ford's assistant after the summer ends, and Mabel learns that high school in the future isn't going to be as fun and exciting as he once thought. Mabel, realizing that she has to go through all the awkward stages of growing up and the stress by herself, similar to Stan, ends up being selfish, ignoring the future and the potential that Dipper has. He pretty much ignores his dreams and what he wants, leading to her falling for an obvious trap, her being offered to make a wish that will make summer last forever. And despite all the downsides of that plan, she gets tricked, and it leads to, and I shit you not, the world-ending apocalypse. All because Mabel didn't want summer to end. She ends up actual apocalypse. Oh my! We'll be back after these short messages. Are you enjoying this video? Do you want to see more of this nonsense that took over a month to script? Well, hit that like button. And comment a funny message down below. Like, I don't know, Blipnorp? And while you're down there, you might as well hit that subscribe button while you're at it. You know, you don't have to, but it's right there. Haha, but
The weirdness continues. Now back to Gravity Falls on Disney XD.
Anyway, that episode was the last one before the 3-part season finale. Ending of Gravity Falls, one of the few cartoon endings that did its job well, alongside such classes as Ed and Eddie the movie, Adventure Time, regular show, and no, not you, stay back in the garbage, disgusting creature. The finale managed to not only end the show with an amazingly planned out and well-written ending, it managed to do it in a manner where it felt like it was the right time. It didn't overstay its welcome, and even though they left it open for a potential sequel, it managed to, at a time, give the viewers a satisfying ending that left the viewers happy. And with that, let's talk about the finale of Gravity Falls, WeirdMageddon. So as I said, the ending is a 3-parter, so as we should, let's start with part 1. Part 1 serves as an initial setup for our character situation. In this we see that Bill has gained control of Gravity Falls as we knew it, even changing the intro. A portal has been opened to Bill's dimension, allowing him to wreak havoc and spread his weirdness to the world. He ends up terrorizing the town and bringing his friends to their location, him eventually kidnapping Ford and leaving Dipper to run for his life, where he ends up meeting with Wendy. Bill, on the other hand, is partying when the Time Baby God shows up and promptly gets one shot. Back to Dipper. Him and Wendy end up getting captured by none other than little old Gideon, who's in charge of protecting Mabel's bubble by Bill. Him still being in love with her and would rather keep her locked up since he can't have her. The two escape, stealing a car and make a run for the bubble, crashing and being saved by Seuss. As Gideon closes in, the two manage to convince Gideon to let them save Mabel. Dipper even showing development on his views about love, telling Gideon that even though Mabel doesn't feel the same way, he's better off working on himself and becoming a better person. Him agreeing, and the three enter the bubble, ending the first part of the finale. As a whole, the episode set the overall tone for the next two episodes, the dark and grim reality that they now lived in, but with dedication and teamwork, they might be able to stop Bill and save the world that keeps them all working hard. And then all of that is killed in part 2. Personally, my least favorite episode of the season, if not the entire series, and honestly, Negasai covered this BS, or I'm probably gonna kill someone.
Alright, triple pay?
You're not even getting paid.
Yeah, you're right, fuck it.
Yeah, you're right, fuck it. WeirdMageddon Part 2, my personal favorite episode of Gravity Falls. In this episode, Seuss, Dipper, and Wendy enter Maple's prison bubble, where they realize that Mabel, my favorite character, is living her perfect, ideal world to keep her distracted. As you would expect, it's full of colorful, wonderful, beautiful anime boys and the works. They find Mabel and learn that she has complete control of this space, actually quite enjoying it, and not wanting to be saved as a whole. Her virtually getting her wish of having her summer last forever. Even introducing Dippy Fresh, her ideal version of Dipper. Even giving Wendy and Seuss exactly what they wanted. Even trying to convince Dipper to stay. He even nearly tried to bait him with a fake Wendy, in which she likes him. But after declining her and noticing more is off about the bubble, he then gets a thought. He then ends up getting arrested and held at trial for mentioning the real world as well. During this trial, Mabel, technically since she's controlling the world, is trying to convince that Dipper that the real world sucks and is full of terrible moments, while Mabeland is perfect. But Dipper shows more of the bad memories and how they can become good memories due to them having each other to lean on. Dipper even saying that he decided not to become Florida Princes, and that he was going to go back home with Mabel after they defeat Bill. And look at that. Look at that good brother right there. Absolute legend. Eventually, all of this ends up convincing her, and the world turns dark. As four of them manage to escape, heading back to the shack, and finding all the remaining people safe and sound inside the shack. And look at that. A good episode with a good message, and a great ending. Isn't that right, Sai? Alright, man. That episode wasn't as bad as I remember, but quick, I'm gonna just speed around the parts that I did dislike. Mabel being okay with all this is insane. I know she wasn't the type to call brainwashing a bad idea in the past, but still, show some development. And B, Dippy Fresh, fuck you. And C is a bit of a nitpick, but Dipper having to give up on his dreams in the apprenticeship with Ford is literally just fucking bullshit just to please Mabel. And honestly, it just kind of feels saddening. That last one, like I said, can be debated, but that's just how I feel personally and how it made me feel. As a whole, fuck the episode. But now, we have the big one, the good one, the big true finale. WeirdMageddon Part 3, the 44-minute extravaganza. One last thing. This episode cannot be done justice purely off of this video. And what I'm going to say is this. It is by far one of the best finales for any show I've ever seen. And if you haven't been convinced to watch the show or even give it a rewatch yet, at least watch this episode. And I swear to you that you'll enjoy it. So, anyway, let's get to it. As the group meets up, morale is extremely low. Everyone's feeling like there's no hope in defeating Bill. They learn that Bill captured everyone else and turned them all into stone to build a throne. Fuck. For a Disney Channel show, they really knew how to create dark imagery. Dipper and Mabel then convince them all to take on Bill with McGucket having a plan. It turns out that Bill can't escape Gravity Falls due to a barrier created by weirdness, gravitation. The reason he captured Ford is due to Ford being the only one who knows how to destroy the barrier. And of course, Ford declines. McGucket and the other citizens then use the shack and other materials and wind up creating a literal mech. During all of this, Stan is upset because he's always seen as the bad guy, Ford being the hero. And Will Stan just wants a thank you for saving Ford in the first place. In all honesty, I can't blame him. I will say at this point in time, it's not the main focus, but as a whole, it is kind of fucked up. The group then pull up on Bill's castle and proceed to fight Bill's henchmen, and not the most crazy fight scene, but seeing everyone work together and fight as a unit is extremely cool, and with a rock remix of the theme song playing, makes this moment even more epic. After this, Bill threatens Ford, saying that since he won't talk through torture, he'll torture the kids instead. Going to fight the robot, but the barrier being the counter, they manage to stun Bill, and they end up grouping and enter Bill's castle. The group manages to free the citizens and temporarily save Ford. After this, Ford constructs a circle that was prophesied to be able to defeat Bill. Each symbol ends up representing a person from the town. Stan refusing to join until Ford apologizes, in which he eventually does. But after Ford corrects Stan on grammar, they begin to have a scuffle. This leads to Bill arriving to stop them. Bill then uses his powers to capture everyone, rendering them as posters, except for Dipper, Mabel, Stan, and Ford. Dipper and Mabel then escape their cage and tell the other two to leave Bill to them. Before Stan and Ford can go help, they get trapped, and Bill says the most wild line in the entire show. I have some kids I need to make into corpses. Like, bro, dude, I thought this was a kid's show. While Bill's chasing the kids, Ford and Stan are talking. Ford tells Stan that the only way to save the kids is to let Bill into his mind. The kids are then captured, and Bill again says, "I think I'm going to kill one of the kids for fun." Bill is the living definition of F them kids, bro. Like, he's out here on, like, Aaron Yeager on Demon Time. But this man is literally a demon. Put this man at the round table, right there. Right there. Fun fact though, I'm not really pretty sure if it's fake or real or if it was a rumor or something, but Mabel was supposed to die here. I'm not saying I would have preferred it, but...
Eeny, meeny, miny.
Yellow tape around his
But before the show becomes an Adult Swim show, Ford surrenders and allows Bill to enter his head, leading Bill to taking over the universe. Kidding! Duh!
Shut up, they've seen the show.
Fuck you. Turns out Stan and Ford swap clothing. They trick Bill into Stan's head instead, in which they use a memory eraser gun from the Society of the Blind Eye, erasing Stan's mind completely, promptly defeating Bill, but destroying and erasing all of Stan's memories, ending WeirdMageddon, but leaving Stan forgetting everything. The family and Suze then return to the shack. That's pretty much all in a wreck. But in turn, Mabel does the best thing she's done the entire series. She ends up showing Stan all of the old memories that they had, which slowly brings Stan's memories back. The episode ends with the town finally throwing Dipper and Mabel's 13th birthday party and a farewell party at the same time. And with this, we get the ending of the show, where everyone's life goes in a different path. Ford and Stan declaring that they'll be traveling the sea on the adventure of the lifetime, as they had wanted to as kids. Stan giving Suze owner of the Mystery Shack, and the kids head out of town, leaving Gravity Falls. And for now, that's the end of the story. That's where the show ended. A perfect ending with a beautiful ending shot, leaving the characters and the viewers satisfied and happy for anything that may come next. As some quote nigga once said, "Don't be sad it's over, be happy that it happened." And with Gravity Falls, that's the feeling I have for the show. Because even though it's not coming back, it's still one of the greatest shows of its era, and potentially of all time. But the good thing about shows that manage to be this damn good is that the fan base and the creators won't ever let the community die. And as so, let's talk about the things the creators and the community managed to do outside the animation studio.
It all started a lifetime ago.
You and me are gonna sail away from this dumb town.
Our parents decided we could use some fresh air.
Be amazed!
Bloopity bloop, twins.
What's up, Hambone?
His name is Waddles.
Everything I've worked for, it's all for this family.
This mystery shack is over forever.
The mystery you don't want to end
There's a town in need of saving.
is the finale you don't want to miss.
Just wish summer could last forever.
As the curtain closed on Gravity Falls on the 15th of February and the final episode aired, the series left a huge hole in the many hearts of the viewers. There were a few interviews about the ending and such from Alex Hirsch himself, but other than that, that was the end. But then fast forward 5 months ahead, and holy shit. Quick rundown. You see, in the finale of Gravity Falls, we see a statue of Bill Cipher, a real-life photo. Throughout the run of the show, the creators were big fans of ciphers and such, planting little pieces and bits of evidence and lore everywhere. Because of that, fans were instantly speculating where this might be and if the statue was real. And plain and simple, their question was answered. It was. and so the adventure began. So to start, the rules were quite simple. With all these in place, the hunt began and people all over the world came together to find this mysterious Bill statue. And when I say all over the world, I mean it. Starting with the first clue being located in Russia, and then Japan over, and then Japan over to the Atlantic, Georgia, to Rhode Island, to California, and of course, good old Oregon. These clues span all over the map, different cities and locations, but even so, the community and the people who found these clues, instead of being toxic or selfish, everyone came together to solve this hunt. And on August 7th, at 1953 PDT, there it was, the Cypher statue, all in this amazing glory. Alongside other knickknacks from the show, the hunt was complete, and as a little reward for the fan base, we got to hear this amazing song.
We'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
That covers this entire hunt in full detail, as I don't think I could top how they went about it. But that was it, the ending of Gravity Falls, the true ending. There was a comic cover where it covered little fun stories, including the characters, but as for the big part of the show, it was all over. And that's good. A lot of shows don't ever get that final hurrah, and it ends off well. They don't ever get to bring their creation to the real world and bring its community together and do all these crazy things. But Alex Hirsch and his team managed to do it, and it was amazing. It's one of a kind because aside from the amazing writing, the talent, the storytelling, the thing that made Gravity Falls what it is the community and a creator that cares. That care and mutual appreciation behind his creator and his viewer is something to awe at. And I don't think we'll ever really see a show at that level again, but that's fine because, as someone once said, don't be sad Gravity Falls is ending, be happy it existed in the first place. But still, I'll say it once more. I miss Gravity Falls. Thank you, Alex Hirsch, and thank you for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.